Ruger SR9, 9mm striker-fired pistol. To me, Ruger really did this one right. The P85 and the P89 and the P90, all those different models were very bulky and blocky. I just never did warm up to them, even though I'm a big Ruger fan. But the SR9 really came into its own, and it really started competing with a lot of the current polymer frame pistols, including the Glock. And it has a lot of similarities to the Glock. This is one of the first pistols that I reviewed almost 6 years ago. I got this from a good friend of mine for the review. This is actually a gun that he owned, and I bought it just recently. And it's not the original though. He still has that one. He still has a couple of others. And very big fan of the SR9. And I've shot a number of these pistols, including this one, for a number of years. And so we're going to take a look at the SR9 and some of the great features that this gun has. One of the things I think that a lot of people do is they look at the price, because it's typically a lot cheaper than many of your premium 9mm pistols. And they kind of give it a discount. But honestly, this is a very fine quality pistol. There are definitely some things about it though that I personally don't really care for in some ways, but it still doesn't discount the fact this is an excellent pistol and one that I was really looking forward to getting a hold of. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and safety check the pistol. Make sure the gun is unloaded, and it is. It does come with two steel 17-round magazines with polymer base plates. These are Italian made. I'm sure they're Metgar mags, which Metgar makes magazines for most of your gun companies. They're good high quality mags. The frame itself is not just a standard polymer. One of the things that I like about Ruger is they do a glass filled nylon, and it is a really strong but yet very refined finish. Whether you get the LCP or the LC9 or any of the Glock pistols, the current pistols, they have this nylon glass feel, and it is a really smooth finish to it. It does have the stainless steel slide, and of course with Ruger SR9 right here on the top. The top of the slide is matte finish, so it keeps the glare down, but the sides are nicely polished. Has nice 3-dot sights. They are adjustable for elevation here, and then of course for windage you can move this, you can drift it over, or you can even drift the rear sight, but I think the front sight is the one to drift. Very well done. There's not really much of a shelf here if you want to try one-handed reloads, even though I was able to get one-handed reloads with this sight. Now it has ambidextrous features to it. The mag release here, and it's on the other side. Very positive. It does have, which is kind of unusual, it does have the safety feature. I'm not a big fan of frame safeties on a striker fire pistol, but that's what it has. Of course, it has your standard safety here with the Glock style trigger safety. This was not an original design with the SR9. It came with a standard blade, and then this was your safety. There were a couple of incidences with the original Generation 1 SR9, or their first edition, that the pistol actually fired when dropped. So this gives you a little extra safety right here. It does have a cocked striker indicator right here in the back. Pull the trigger and that disappears. Placing a dummy round in the magazine. Go ahead and load the magazine. You can see right away the loaded chamber indicator right here. Now, I'm not a real big fan of that. I mean, it sticks out pretty well, but really, to be honest with you, it's not really hurting anything. But it is what it is. And it says loaded when up. Obviously, it's in the up position. It's not only visible, but it's also tactile. You can feel it if it is loaded. There's also a magazine disconnect. With the magazine removed, this gun will not fire. The trigger will pull, and you'll hear it. But there is a block built in. Now, on this pistol in particular, I have removed that block. I hate magazine disconnects, and it is one of the deal breakers for me, really. Unless it's just something that I like to play with at the range, I am not a fan of magazine disconnects. The early models had a round magazine release. This has a D-shaped mag release, and again, it is on both sides. It's nice and serrated, and it's very positive. Magazines seat very well. They're not sticky. It's just a really good fit. It does have a one-slot accessory rail on the front. This can fit any of your accessories that will go on a Picatinny rail. The trigger guard's rounded, but it is very ample. The serrations on the slide are pretty sharp. Some guys will go and have this toned down just a little bit. For me, it's not that big a deal. Of course, I haven't put hundreds of rounds through this gun. Particularly, I have shot quite a few rounds from the SR9. I've not really ever had a lot of discomfort from shooting them, but over time, I will know that because, but I've just heard a lot of people complaining. But really, unless you're sliding your hands against the slide, it's a really positive grip. You know you have it, and just pull it back. It's really easy to do. Here, the safety. It's very positive. You can hear the click. And now a lot of self-defense doctrine states that if you have a safety on your pistol like this, that you really can't just ignore it. You really need to train with that safety. And what that will do is, in case you ever draw this pistol and in a self-defense situation and you're pulling the trigger, just in case the safety has been inadvertently moved up, you're not going to find yourself pulling a dead trigger. I'm just not personally a big fan of grip safeties, and I think that that can be kind of a problem. Really, if I have a choice, I'll do without it. Now, the grip angle is really nice. It fits really more like the grip angle of a 1911, which, you know, if you're shooting a lot of 1911s, that really makes it nice. The Glock kind of veers off from that. And now the slide is about the same thickness as the Glock, but as it comes down, the grip gets narrower. So to me, this gun is much more ergonomic than just the straight sides of your Glock pistols. Now, I'm a big fan of Glocks, you guys know that. But this is a very ergonomic pistol. You can see here where it kind of goes in, and it makes it really nice to bring your hand in. Right at the front of the grip, you can see right here where this is actually bevels down into the frame, and so it gives it a really nice feel. Okay, right on the back is a rubberized panel. This comes out with just the removal of a pin, and if you turn it over, it actually has a little bit of a hump. So it gives you another option if you want a little more for your grip. There's a small sleeve in the center, and then there's a pin. And you can just set it down, take a punch it right through. Of course, it came out all together, and then just pull your grip off. One side's flat, one side has a slight little hump. Be careful not to let this sleeve fall out. If you do, you've got to fish it back in. Here it is with the slightly raised grip. I personally like the flat, and I'm going to keep it that way. Of course, this slides right back on. Take your pin. Just replaces. It's really simple. Now we're going to check the trigger pull on this gun. First thing we're going to do is make sure the gun isn't loaded, and it is. Magazine is out. There's some resistance up to about right here. You just get a nice little bit of resistance and then a nice crisp snap. I measured this a number of times with my Lyman trigger gauge, and it's running just under about 6 pounds 4 ounces. So a little heavier than some of your Glocks, but really at the range you're not really noticing it. We're going to try it again right about here and then snap. Reset. You do come out a little ways for the reset. But again, and if you'll notice with some of my fast shooting, it was not bad to get that reset. It wasn't too fast. And I never had any skips. You know, sometimes with a long reset, you end up double moving your finger to try to get that trigger. And it just really did well. One of the big pros about this pistol is it rides really low in the hand. For one thing, it has a nice long beaver tail right here, so you're able to really get your hand into the frame and up next to the slide. I mean, you can see how low that rides. Really low bore axis. Now, on the practical level, what that does is the slide rides right here above your hand. So instead of riding like this and kicking up, you're much closer to the center axis, and so then when the slide comes back, there's just less felt recoil. It just makes it a much more pleasurable gun to shoot. This is a sweet shooting gun no matter what the price. The low bore axis keeps this thing on target. The recoil is really mild. Shooting my accuracy shots, I had to be careful because I wanted to shoot quick, and just because that trigger felt so good, instead of really lining up my sights as much as trying to get that second shot. The sights are really visible above the slide. It really makes it easy to get quick target acquisition. I had no problems at all going for those second shots because I guess of the low bore axis as well. It just brought that down into line. Those sights are super easy to pick up. Now we're going to look at the disassembly of the pistol. This is a slide lock. Now our slide lock, which Ruger designates its slide lock, they advise not to use this as a slide release for whatever reason, but pull it back, lock it into place, remove your magazine. Now your ejector right here is the little part that sticks out. You're going to have to just push it in the down position. It's really easy to do. And then right here, push your pin through, bring out your takedown piece, and then just bring the slide forward. Okay, here we can see standard striker fire designs. Ruger does a really good job of finishing off their pistols. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Ruger is known as a very high quality firearm company. Of course, you have your guide rod and your guide rod spring. Move it out. It is a polymer guide rod. Of course, it's a steel spring. Then the barrel, just bring it up and out. Very nicely done barrel system. Of course, it has the Browning lockup design. Just a really nice piece. Here's another look at the slide itself. Very well finished. It is in kind of a matte finish. Very well done. Now the SR9 has been field stripped. Go ahead and return your barrel. Just going to go in opposite order. Bring it back and then go ahead and enter. Lock it into place. You can reach in here and bring your ejector back up, or you can just enter a fresh magazine and that'll make it put it into place. And that way you're not going to forget, leave it in the down position and it'll disable your gun. This will automatically put it back in the right place. And we're all done. Now the box that it comes in, it's nice, good Ruger box. Of course, you get the pistol, you get the magazine, you get an extra magazine, you get the lock. You do get a magazine loader, and it's all metal. Of course, the magazines are metal. You get your typical owner's manual and all that stuff. You know, just regular stuff. The lock, of course, will not be used. I can't stand those things. It's going to go in my junk drawer. Ruger does a good job of presenting their firearms, and again, the box is really nice. Of course, there are a couple of different models. This is the stainless steel slide with the black frame. You can also get this with a nitride slide and a black frame. They did offer a green frame at one time, but it is no longer available. You can still find them on the used markets, but they've gotten to be pretty much a collector's item. The barrel length is 4.14 inches. The total length of the pistol is 7.5 inches, and it's just over 5.5 inches in width. So it's a pretty standard full-size pistol or range pistol, self-defense sidearm, or for home defense. Now, I weighed this on my scale and it was 25.9 ounces, which honestly is very comparable to the Glock. The Glock 17 usually comes in at about 24 to 25 ounces. So this is really on par with your Glock 17. Now, Ruger has introduced their 9E pistol series, which is actually exactly the same as the SR9, but it's their economy model. It runs MSRP about $100 less, and one of the first things you'll notice is that it has an oxide slide, a black oxide slide, which is easier to finish and it doesn't cost as much in labor. Another thing is they have one less magazine. It's also fixed sights, and there's no magazine loader. So with all that together, that probably brings it down about $100. So if you're really wanting to get into a self-defense pistol for less money, that would be a great way to go. Then you can upgrade as you can. But that is the difference pretty much between the 9E and the SR9. Now, one of the things I noticed was most of your SR9 pistols, most of the older versions, they had a cut right here in this part of the slide. It was really low, and it wasn't much more than what my finger goes back to. Even the original pistol that I reviewed 6 years ago, and Nothing Fancy's review 6 years ago, they had this scallop. Now on the Ruger website, it has the scallop still there. I'm not really sure why this one is. If you know, I'd love to know about it in the comments. I did some research and I really couldn't find anything about it. One of the things I did notice was the SR40 doesn't have the scallop, nor does the SR45. So if you kind of know, I'd love to see it in the comments. But now, as far as price goes, the manufacturer's suggested retail price of the SR9 is $525. One of the places with the best prices online that I usually refer to is Bud's Gun Shop. They were running for $411. That is a fantastic price. The SR9E, or the 9E, which is their economy model, I saw them for $330. And so that's a great way to, an entry-level gun to be able to get into with Ruger quality. You know you're going to have good quality, and it's just a great shooting gun at the range. So if you're really on a budget, but yet you really want quality, which you should for a self-defense situation, the SR9 or the SR9C, which is their compact version. I've got a number of buddies that carry those as their concealed carry options. They're just excellent pistols. Of course, you get it in the 9, the 40, and you can also get it in the 45 ACP, the SR45. Plus a lot of other really cool pistols by Ruger. So if you're looking for a high quality pistol and you're really looking in the $400 range, I don't know of another gun that would match this one for that kind of quality, made right here in the USA. And it's just an excellent gun. Ruger's been producing quality firearms for years and years, decades. The Ruger SR9 pistol, thumbs way up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. And it's really an exceptional, I don't want to say that because it will be in this rear position, pull the trigger. Okay. It does have an accessory rail on the front. It does have a one slot accessory rail. It does have a one slot accessory with that frame safety being in the down position, which would be for safe. Oh no, you need to train, but that's take here, push through this pin, and then your takedown tool just comes right out. Crap. What a shoot sweeting gun. Shoot sweeting. What a shoot sweeting gun.